Welcome to Emotions and Eating with Nicola-beer. Nicola controlled her feelings using food for 25 years, so she knows how draining it is to be constantly thinking about or acting out with food. Thankfully, having made an amazing breakthrough in her recovery, her mission became about helping others escape the unsatisfying cycle of frustration and self-medication with food. Nicola is determined to help you find your inner strength so you can be healthy, gain confidence, feel great, and be at peace with yourself and food.
Hi there, this is Nicola. I hope you're doing well today, wherever you are. Today I'm going to be talking about cravings, what the diet industry doesn't tell you. The diet industry, weight loss or weight gain programs make it seem super simple to reach your goal weight with almost no effort at all. They make all sorts of compelling claims like, follow this plan and you will shed 2 to 3 kilograms a week, or lose belly fat in 2 weeks, or say goodbye to cellulite, or get a six-pack, or gain more muscle instantly. And what they fail to tell you is that it's highly likely that you will have cravings, and these cravings will drive you insane. No advice is given to manage or deal with these cravings. If you're an emotional eater, a binge eater, a compulsive eater, like I was, then you'll not only have the physical cravings that most people who change their diet experience, for example, cutting out caffeine, cutting out sugar, cutting out wheat, etc. But on top of that, there will be emotional triggers that cause you to want to stuff down your emotions with food, or the triggers maybe for you, you're not an emotional eater or compulsive eater. Maybe for you, you're a restrictor. Maybe for you, you don't eat. Or maybe for you, you make yourself sick no matter what you've eaten. And it's the emotional triggers that cause this. Are you with me? So it's all too easy to say, eat this for breakfast, eat this for lunch, eat this for dinner. Brilliant, okay, yeah, I'll follow that. If only following a eating plan was that simple. This is before I knew how to control or look at any of the emotions beneath why I was eating the way I was. In reality, when a craving strikes, it takes over. The mental compulsion to act out can be so strong that all intentions go out of the window. I know when I was really trying to take a grip of my eating, just the urge to eat more bread, the urge to finish the cake, the urge to go and be sick was so strong, and nothing really helped. And what we're made to then to feel is like a failure. Great, I couldn't even stick to the plan for very long. And then there are some times where we're given a plan and we find it as an emotional way to restrict and control and punish ourselves. And then we find that we cannot adjust to normal eating. We cannot adjust to balanced eating. We've taken the plan as like a gospel and it's something we have to follow religiously, and we cannot eat then and integrate with other people. So I've done that as well. I've been like, right, now I'm into this eating plan, diet plan now, and no, I can't go to that dinner. No, I can't go to my friend's birthday. No, I can't do this, I can't do that, because all that mattered was following my plan. What a sad way to live. And that was true for me for a number of months when I was into a plan, and for years I, was either binging or starving. And that is not a life of freedom. And that is not a life of peace. And what the weight loss and the diet loss industry don't tell us is that we may experience these cravings that are so strong, it will be hard to follow their instructions. And they don't tell us what to do in that case, so that we don't give up altogether. Instead, we are left to feel like we have failed, like we're out of control, like we're crazy, or like we're greedy. What would have been useful would be to say things like, cravings can be physical, cravings can be emotional, they can be spiritual, they can be mental, and what to do in each case. Because when I help individuals get through this and to have a new way of eating and enjoy life again and be free of their emotional eating and food control, we look at, okay, how to determine, is this a trigger, is this a mental trigger, is this emotional trigger, what kind of emotional trigger is it, how can you deal with it, and then have a list of tools to support it, and a group to go to for support, someone to contact, someone to say, okay, I'm really feeling the urge to eat 2 pizzas, can you help me? Or I'm really feeling the urge to go to the shop and just buy crisps and chocolate and biscuits and fizzy sodas and just munch the whole lot, that kind of thing. I remember when I had meals delivered daily from a healthy eating venue in Dubai. Have you ever done that? Had your meals ordered for you and made for you for a week or a month or a few months to control your eating? Well, I did. So I signed up to this place in Dubai, and they were going to deliver me my my lunch and my dinner and 2 snacks. So they said, make your own breakfast. And it was all going to be 1,000 calories. So I was like, okay. And when it got delivered, the portions were so small and the calorie and fat content was so low that by day 2, as soon as my meals arrived at 10 a.m, I ate the whole lot. I ate the whole lot in 1 to 2 hours. Because I think they gave me, the content they gave me, I think it was around 800 calories, because I think they said, well, if you're going to have a 1,000 calorie diet, then you have 200 for your breakfast. So I just couldn't control myself. Like, literally. But maybe I would have, even if it had more calories in and more fat in, I don't know, maybe I still would have done exactly the same. But as soon as it came, I was so wanted to eat it that I just ate the whole thing. I ate my lunch and my dinner and my snacks in like 2 hours. And then I'd feel so guilty. Guilty because I'd eaten the whole thing in 2 hours. Guilty because I'd spent all this money on it. Guilty because then I'd feel like I can't wait until 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. the next day, so I'm going to have to eat. So I'm going to have to spend more money on food. I'm going to have to make more food. And that was the whole purpose of the thing, was to not eat extra food and was to save myself time from making food. And I really did try the next day, but the same thing happened again and again. And then I'd feel so guilty. Sometimes depending on my mood, I would call myself a pig, and I would sometimes make myself sick. It was just awful. So for me, now I know, having those meals delivered was not a good idea. Probably now, since I've been free of emotional eating and now I'm in a good place and I have peace around food and I love my body and all that kind of stuff, which has taken a lot of work, but I'm there. Like, maybe now I could try it. This is just an example of, there was no advice, okay, you are going to have cravings. If you are, have you been compulsively eating? Why don't they ask you those kind of things? Because for me, I could not eat until 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock one day, and then when I start eating, that's it. It's just non-stop, and my mind is constantly like, what am I going to have next? Eat the snack. What am I going to have next? What am I going to have for dinner? Oh, I'm a bit hungry. What am I going to have before I go to bed? What am I going to have for breakfast tomorrow? That is how my mind used to work. I'm not sure if you're listening to this thinking that I am insane, or you're listening to this thinking, yeah, I was like that a little bit myself, or I can identify with that, or there are a few similarities. I'm sure there's loads of differences. The thing is there any similarities? And do you want freedom? Do you want peace? Is there anything you'd like to change? And do you feel guilt around food? Because guilt is a horrible feeling. I'm going to be creating an episode actually just on guilt. So if you really suffer with food guilt, then stay tuned and subscribe to the show so that you don't miss that one, because I'm going to create one just on guilt and food, and also on anxiety and food, because those are big things for me. They create a lot of pain. But not only that, that's going back to the point, the diet industry and the weight loss industry don't really share how to deal with cravings. They don't paint a picture of what it is actually like for a lot of people when the main thing you're using to express your emotions or to help with your emotions or to reward yourself or to treat yourself is gone. People feel lonely. People feel empty. You know, so many of the men and women I work with will say when they put the food away, they're like, wow, I've got so much time in the evening. I didn't realise that I took up so much time grazing, and now I can do some amazing stuff. But first of all, before we get to the point where they can do some amazing stuff, it's clearing that sense of, I feel alone. I'm on my own. I want to be seen. And this can be people that are in busy families and married. They can still feel that lonely when they take away the food. And not only that, the diet industry also tells us that if we lose weight, if we eat in a certain way, then we are going to feel amazing. That our lives will be miraculously transformed instantly. How many times have you ever thought, I'll be happy when I get down to my goal weight? The attitude of weight being directly linked to our happiness has gripped us literally by the throats and by our stomachs. Lose weight, feel great. It's absolutely everywhere you turn and everywhere you look. You go on Facebook, you see it all over the place. Weight loss, there's women that say, how many people want to lose 10 kilograms? 10 kilograms. Or you get this, get rid of your stomach. Get rid of your cellulite. Get rid of this and feel amazing. And of course, it's a $1 billion industry. And does the $1 billion industry care about the real life application of its products? Do they really care enough to go into the details of how to help you when the feelings get too much? Or when something triggers our anxiety around food issues? You know what I'm talking about. What do we do when that voice, you know the one, says quietly, can't believe you've eaten that donut because you had cakes in the office that day? And then the voice gets louder and louder until it's screaming at you, I really can't believe you ate that donut. Oh, I really, you shouldn't have eaten that donut. Don't eat lunch now, or run it off tonight, or get rid of it. Go and be sick. Or, like, tomorrow we're not going to eat any carbohydrates. Have you had that? It used to be a reality for me all the time. So in fact, whatever food I had, I couldn't really enjoy, because I knew that as soon as it was eaten, there'll be a little voice saying, okay, now you've done that, you're bad. And sometimes it will tell me to get rid of it in some kind of form, or sometimes it will just tell me, you're bad. I'd like to know how the fitness influencers tackle those kind of situations, and how do they recommend people that suffer from these eating patterns handle it? Because this is not a problem for a very small minority. This is actually a worldwide, global phenomenon. And the sad thing is that most people don't get support for whatever reason. I think a lot of the reason that people don't get support is because we're made to believe that it's easy to lose weight or to gain weight or to control these food behaviours. It's easy. Here's the plan, follow this, eat this, you'll be fine. It's like, well, hello? No. So, why don't we get information and support from these famous fitness influencers and diets? They rely on the fact that images and content they post via their social media channels and advertising channels only show the story of a perfectly happy, fit person. That when you're doing X, Y, and Z, you're instantly happy. And it's a sham. I've been all different kinds of weight, and I can